All right. All right. I think we're good here. I'll make this guy a little bit smaller. There we go. See if we can make that going up a little bit. All right. See if we can't make that up a little bit. Turn that guy off. Bring this guy over here. I was able to do this before. Where was I able to do? Hey, what's going on, Rob? Jill, Spectator, Deb, K Paso. So we're going to try pop out chat. See if we can get that guy to pop out. And then we want to minimize. All right. Then we want to minimize. Bear with me just a second. I still can't figure out how to get that to work. All right, never mind. We'll get over here. So pop out chat. Yeah, that's what I want. Daniel, Jude, Mark. What's going on, Mark? From Philly, man. Philly. All right, all right. For some reason, I can't get this to sit. All right, whatever. We'll look at it over here. Hold on just a second, my friends. And you might hear a dog screech a bit because my wife is taking my kids out. They got good report cards for something to eat. And so because of that, you might be hearing when they come back, for some ice cream, I should say, when they come back, you might hear him barking just a tad. All right, so hold on just a second. Your channel. We're going to see if I can't get this to, where's the home, play all, uploads, library. All right. Hold on just a second. Trying to get this set up correctly on, there we go. Using the Zoom live feed, and then, which I like, so I want to share a couple articles with you here tonight. On top of being able to see the comments at the same time. Zoom doesn't let you see the comments without actually having a YouTube. There we go. All right, cool. So let me click on this guy. All right, sweet. I think we got it. I think. All right, click on that guy. Hold on just a second. It's learning process here, my friends. Turn off that. But I think we're getting it. Hey, I think we got it. Let's see if we got this here for just a second. Waiting. I'm drinking my, there we go. Cool. All right, we got, all right, sweet. I see the comments. Fantastic. All right. We got Daniel Jews, Mark from Philly. We got Dennis DeWeert from Chicago. The Bears, they lost the Saints. I hate the Saints, man. Oy. Maui in the house. We got Kenny on his forklift. Right on, brother. We got Pablo's right behind me, Juice. He's sitting there right behind me. He is chomping away on some of his toys. I'm sure he'll be joining us shortly. Hendo, North Carolina. Don, what's up? Rob from Worcester, right on. Al from Pure, Michigan. The Great Smoky. I guess Al's taking a break, and he's in the Great Smokies, Gatlinburg. Theo from Dallas, Fort Worth, Cleveland, Ohio. Charlotte, North Carolina. Bartlett. I'm not sure. Is that Bartlett, Texas? We got another Boston. Right on. Love Tech, says Mark Tierney. Not sure where Mark Tierney's from, but right on. We got. I figured Tierney, man. I was gonna say you got to be from the Northeast. When I was going to King Middle School in Portland, Maine, you had a number of Tierneys there. So I don't know if you got kin up that neck of the woods, but Tierney's a big Northeastern name for sure. My camera's a little bit blurry. Let's see what. Is it? That's weird. It looks pretty good from this end. Let me turn this, see what happens when I turn this off. Hold on just a second. Yeah, I don't like that. That looks weird to me. What happens if I turn? No, I don't know that. Yeah, it doesn't look. Huh, it's weird. I don't know. Upper Michigan. I'm not sure. Does it look blurry still? We'll just do like that. All right. Lexington, South Carolina. Right on. Born Worcester, says Mark Tierney. Right on. New York City in the house. Right. Cape May, New Jersey. Western New York. Vic. Right on. From Tampa. Pablo is doing great. Pablo is doing great. He actually he took a big whiz on our dining room carpet today. I was washing the dishes and he was going, run, run. I said, all right, I'll let you out here in just a second. Next thing I look over, he lifted his leg right on the dining room carpet. Now, the issue is, having done carpet cleaning for many, well, I won't say many years, but a couple years when I was in college, what you got to do, you got to take a damp, cold rag and get on that sucker ASAP and wet that down. You'll get your stain up. But man, if I didn't see that, that'd be staining that rug. And that was not a cheap rug that we got. You know, it's not one of those Afghan, well, I don't know what they call it, Afghan rugs, but, you know, for us, it's a rug that was a cost of money. Madison, Wisconsin, right on. Okay, Troy said not blur, right on. Thanks, Mike. Mike says Pablo is the start of the star of every video. Pablo's not. Jeff from right on, Jeff. Got Harry Jeff from North Carolina, Harry from Texas. All right, cool. All right, so Rob says video is sharp on the phone, but blurry on 4K TV. All right. And Rick says not blurry. Okay. Pablo 2020, right on. All right, so I want to share with you guys an article. This is actually pretty cool. If I can, let's see. I click on this guy, share. And I'm going to go to here. This is from the journal or the Society of Professional Petroleum Engineers or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but the JPT, the Journal of Petroleum Technology. Let me make sure y'all can see that. Hold on just a second. Yeah. I love this Zoom stuff, man. This is fantastic. I might even get on some, bust out some Right Capital later on tonight. Look at this. This is Dateline, 7 October 2019. USGS is the United States Geological Survey. Appalachian formations hold an estimated 214 trillion cubic feet of gas. 214 trillion cubic feet of gas. And I said, what? I don't even know what a trillion cubic foot is. So I clicked on Petropedia. A trillion cubic feet, abbreviated as TCF, is a volume measurement unit of natural gas. A trillion cubic feet is equivalent to approximately one quad. A quad is an abbreviation for a quadrillion. I don't even know I can't even pronounce all those zeros. BTUs. A British thermal unit is a unit of measurement for energy representing the amount of heat that is needed to raise the temperature of 1 pound of water by 1 degree Fahrenheit. So they came up with so think about think about this. This is what they found. The Appalachian Formation holds an estimated 214 trillion cubic feet. 1 trillion cubic feet is equivalent to approximately one quad, which is 1 quadrillion BTUs. That's freaking insane. And so you're sitting, woo, Pablo. God, my goodness, man. Let's see, I'm going to do this. Everyone kept telling me Control Plus. Let's see, Control Plus. Oh, it did work. Yes, look at that. The Marcellus Shale in Point Pleasant. Oh, man. Well, hold on just a second. There we go. The Marcellus Shale and Point Pleasant Utica Shale formations of the Appalachian Basin hold an estimated mean of 214 trillion cubic feet of undiscovered, technically recoverable continuous sources of natural gas, according to an updated assessment from the USGS. The Marcellus, Point Pleasant, Utica extended to parts of Kentucky, Maryland, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and West Virginia. USGS assessments are for remaining resources and exclude known and produced oil and gas. So they're excluding what is known and already been produced. The new numbers, about 97 trillion cubic feet of gas for the Marcellus and 117 trillion cubic feet of gas for Utica Point Pleasant. Man, Pablo, you stink. Represent large increases from the previous USGS assessments of both formations. In 2011, the USGS estimated an average of 84 trillion cubic feet in the Marcellus, and in 2012, 38 in the Utica. Seeing the USGC estimates for the Marcellus rise from 2 trillion cubic feet to almost 100 trillion cubic feet in less than 20 years shows the effects of American ingenuity and new technology it can have. Since our assessments in 2011 and 12, industry has improved upon its development techniques for continuous resources like shale gas in the Appalachian Basin. I just, the gaseous formations is classified as continuous because spread throughout the assessed rock layers instead of being concentrated in discrete accumulations. Production techniques like directional drilling and hydraulic fracturing are required to produce these resources. Anyway, the reason I point that out, I'll stop sharing. It's just, they always talk about the technology for green stuff, you know, to get the PV, a photovoltaic solar panel. Right now, the technology, you're lucky to get 25%. You just not, I mean, and the idea that we're going to get above 33% silly is just not going to happen. But yet we have huge, massive amount of technology in developing natural gas and just the what we can uncover. It's absolutely insane. And I just say that because the idea that these people in Northeast are going to be robbed of their ability to heat their home with clean burning natural gas because of the flat earthers, the anti-science people like Andrew Cuomo, and just the left because they hate fossil fuels. It's freaking insane, man. And I just sit there and I say, are these people, are they either ignorant or the nefarious? And I think they're a combination of both, frankly. I think the left can get by because the rich people fund them by being ignorant about how much fossil fuels are out there, how clean natural gas is. The CO2 is such a tiny amount of greenhouse gas. It's just not an issue. And yet the comforts and the technology that we can use to live in a nice, comfortable Western world, the idea that we're all going to take sailboats from freaking London to the United Nations is just insane. And I just love it. I love the fact that even while these guys are out there saying, I can't have kids because of climate change, man, do what I literally don't care. But how can you not be optimistic and say, when these Indians and these, Chinese, once the communism goes down, which it is inevitable, communism will always fail. Once these guys go down, there's going to be a bunch of people with being able to use the resources of the brains of human beings to just live better lives, better quality of lives. And it's going to be hugely beneficial to all of us. The whole point about that is it really annoys me when people are literally watching the world as if we're going to dystopia when it's the actual opposite. We are not going dystopian. We are going into more and more positive environments. And not to see that as to be ignorant or to be nefarious, i.e. misery loves company. I am miserable in who I am. I want you to be miserable me. I say screw all that stuff. So anyway, I just thought you'd get a little bit out that. So, all right. Put a GoPro on Pablo. That's a good idea. Yeah, almost as much. My Rob says almost as much gas as he has. Man, it's funny. I was just talking about natural gas, and little Pablo is letting me know that he's still here. Whoa, man. Oh yeah. All right, so yeah, it's a little bit blurry on my computer. It's a little bit blurry too, but that's all right. I probably got too much zits you don't want to see anyway. All right, so. Let's see. I got some other. All right. So I thought I saw. No, Barry, no basement tonight. We're going to try to do this from this room just because when I go to the basement, what did I say? I told my wife, she goes, you can do it in this room. I said, okay. I just worry about everybody and go to bed and Pablo's going to be screaming bloody murder. She was, so whatever. The boss man says I can do it in this room. I'm doing this room. All right. So Theo says, is it true that as long as I'm in the 22% married tax bracket and expect to remain in it during retirement, there's no disadvantage to doing Roth conversions up to the top of the 22% bracket? Is it true that if I'm in the 22% tax bracket married and expect to remain in it, there's no disadvantage I mean, I don't know how you could say, yeah, I guess if you, I mean, no, I mean, think about it. If you, for every, let's just say you're still in the 22% tax bracket, and you add an extra $10,000 of taxable income, that's still $2,200 you got to pay now that you would not have to pay until a later day, if that makes sense. So it's not true that there's no disadvantage, because you're still, even though you're still in a same tax bracket, you still have to come up with $2,200 to pay that extra $10,000 of income, if that makes sense. Whereas if you didn't do the Roth conversions, you wouldn't have to do that. I mean, you have to do it at some point, but you won't have to do it anytime soon. So I never want to say anything like always or never. I wouldn't say that. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's not going to affect your IRMA. Most likely, I don't have my tax bracket stuff here. Hold on a sec. What's the tax? I can't remember what the tax brackets are for. I mean, I know it's. Remember, IRMA, my friends, is the Medicare, the extra premiums on Medicare. And off the top of my head, I can't remember it's 170, I think. Adjust gross income for Medicare premiums for married filing jointly to increase premiums. So I think you can still be in the 22% and have 170 of income. Hold on just a sec. Let me see about, all right, no, hold on just as, there we go. So this is that's the old cover that I did by myself. And I've changed the cover, thankfully, to something more professional. All right, so if your taxable income is, if you're married filing jointly, you need to stay in the 12%, 22% tax bracket, 165. So yeah, as long as you're in the 22%, that's taxable income. I think I'd agree with that for the most part, Theo. I just hate to say, is it true that as long as you're still there's no negatives or no disadvantage of doing it. There are some. At the end of the day, I still think it's more advantageous to do it, but I'd never want you to walk away saying that Josh said there's no disadvantage, because there's always going to be a disadvantage to some regard when you're paying taxes today that you don't have to pay in the future. All right. Pablo 2020. As a broad question, I'm in the 32% tax bracket and married. Should I convert? Anyone should consider Roth conversions, Dennis. I mean, it'd be silly not to consider it. But it really depends. Like, for instance, let's say you got, I don't know, $50,000 in an IRA and everything else is a taxable account. It's not going to do Roth conversions at 32%, when at some point in the future, you might be in a much lower tax bracket, wouldn't make sense. It really depends on how big your IRAs, 401ks, your pre-tax money is, because how much you're going to be in the 32% tax bracket. The issue with this is what I say. We know if you're married filing jointly, most of us are going to be in a higher tax bracket in the future. We know this. And the reason for that is because when I die, Charlotte's going to inherit my IRA, lose the smaller of the Social Security benefits, but now only be one tax-paying unit as opposed to two, married filing jointly versus single. So whereas before we were in the 12% tax bracket, as a single taxpayer, she'll be in the 22%. The vast majority of married people, something like that is going to happen. If you're already in the 32% tax bracket, it's hard for me to say that it's likely at your demise that your spouse will be in a higher tax bracket than what you are today, because I don't know that to be true. I don't know. You have to look at it, the big picture, how much you have in deferred accounts, how much you have in pension income, all that stuff has to come into play. And I just don't know the answer to that. But yeah, I mean, you should always consider it. The question is whether you should do it or not. And I'm not so sure. If I'm in a married filing jointly and I'm in a 12% tax bracket, my default is or even a 22%, like my man Theo asked. My default, if I'm married filing jointly in a 12 or 22% tax bracket, or a 10 even, my default's absolutely to more than just consider it is to go into the assumption that the Roth conversions are beneficial unless I can prove otherwise. Does that make sense? I got to prove to myself that Roth will not be beneficial to me, as opposed to what I would say for you should consider it. But I would kind of lean in there saying I need to be convinced that Roth conversions are for me. So the evidence would need to be presented to make the Roth worthwhile. For me and most people, the evidence needs to be presented that the Roth is not worthwhile, if that makes sense. Yeah, Eagles big game tonight. I saw that, Mark. freaking Redskins. Well, how bad are they? I mean, my God, man. What? The Bengals 0-7, the Skins 1-6. With the Jets are 1-4, playing the Pats tomorrow. Yeah, the Pats are 6, so the Jets are already going to bye week. Do you know listen to this. Christian McCaffrey, after 5 games, had more yards from scrimmage than any other player in NFL history except for Jim Brown. How insane. Christian McCaffrey had more yards from scrimmage after 5 games than any other player in the history of the NFL except for Jim Brown. How insane is that? I just I think that's freaking awesome. I think that's awesome. Just checking on my man back there. Pablo should have his own YouTube show. It's kind of like Flossie Carter, where he's got his White Shoes. White Shoes has his own Instagram, which my wife follows. White Shoes on Flossie Carter. Kind of funny. Chris in Chicago is in the house. Put a GoPro on Pablo. Hey, whoa. Hey, come here. All right. Come here. Oh, there he is. I'll be right back. You want to go see Mom? There you go. Go ahead. Good boy. Go. They just got back from Minchie's, where you get some ice cream, but I'm going on my low sugar diet, so I'm not eating any of that Minchie's. Vic G says, see here. All right. Starling just got his tax bond book. Right on, man. That's fantastic. All right. Ooh, I missed something here. Yeah, America's fracking awesome. Could not believe it. I 100% cannot. Mike C says, if New York wants to look like North Korea from space, I say let them. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. You ever seen one of those maps? You see the world, South Korea, hell, even Vietnam and stuff, and they see this big dark space of North Korea. It's freaking sad. And that's what these guys want to take us back to. I find that to be inhumane. But they've always been inhumane. They've always talked about too many people. In fact, I was just reading the other day, too, that the actual fertility rates among everybody across the world is dropping like a brick in water. In South Korea, it's like 0.82 newborn per woman. That's doomsday scenario there. Hell, Japan's higher than that. South Korea is 0.82. Japan is even higher than that. But even like the Muslim countries and even the sub-Saharan Africa is dropping like a brick in water. And this is the issue. If the left truly wanted to fight climate change, they should shoot for prosperity, because the left, look, I hate to sound political, but this is one of my sticking points about fear mongering. The fear mongering on climate change and the fear mongering about retirement are freaking, they stick together like glue. And the left will sit there and say human beings are the problem and we need to reduce the amount of human beings. And I mean, we know this from Margaret Sanger. We know this from Paul Ehrlich. And the issue, though, is if they really believe that, they should be all for increasing the abundance of societies in India, China, all over the place, in sub-Saharan Africa, with electricity, fossil fuels, because once a society achieves a certain level of affluence, they stop having as many kids. It's literally this simple. And the idea that we need to reduce population and then also go back to a pre-industrial age society, it's freaking nuts. It's just lying. The lying piece of the crap. It really drives me crazy. Joe says, tired of getting up at 7 a.m. to watch. Yeah, Falcons. Horrible. What? They got spanked by freaking Rams today. I was driving down, my wife and I were down at Georgia Tech for one of my daughter's things, and we're driving around and saw a bunch of these guys walking around in Rams jerseys. I said, yep, Falcons playing the Rams. I guarantee and next, whatever home game they got coming up, they're probably going to have not even half the stands full. I guarantee it. And yet taxpayer paid for all that. Okay. David said, all right, this is a good question. Is it worth doing a Roth conversion if you have a military pension? That's tough, brother. That's one of those ones that every time I do a plan, I vacillate, because that's a tough one, because the military pension essentially wipes out your standard deduction. And so what happens here is that you're not, and if you have SBP, so the point of the widow's tax is that you're leaving your surviving spouse with just as much income, but she's losing or he is losing a write-off, a standard deduction, and the married filing jointly tax brackets. If you have SBP, well, you're only leaving your surviving spouse 55% of the military pension. First of all, you're still going to lose one Social Security. Second of all, and so, her income is going to, or his income is going to drop a pretty good amount. You're not necessarily going to leave he or she in that same tax bracket that you were in. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. And on top of that, the pension immediately is going to wipe out the standard deduction, which means every single penny from Roth conversions that you do will be taxed from the very beginning. It's that's a challenge. It's one that I'd actually say more often than not, David, that it's not worth it to do simply because you're bringing tax money forward, and I'm not a fan of that unless I can see a benefit in the back end. And when you have a pension, there's not that much of a benefit of the back end, more often than not, especially for military people with a survivor benefit plan. Now, if you have 100% pension, it might well be, but you don't get that in the military. So it's a challenge, man. That's a challenge. That's a tough one. So I'm going to defer to that, to your own specific planning scenario. That's a tough one. Is it worth paying 1.25? My man Tom says, is it worth paying 1.25 to have a financial advisor? Anyone want to answer that one? Tom, that's a good question. I'll leave it to the peanut gallery to answer that. The answer is no, Tom. What the hell is he providing you? I could. Am I still sharing my window, by the way? I'm not sharing anymore, am I? I don't think so. Share. Okay, no, sweet. All right. Let me go out here. It's not at all. And Vanguard has a study. Someone else has it too. I think it might be Morningstar, what they call the advisor gamma. So they got the alpha, if you can outperform the market. They got the beta, which is the relative, how much of the market you're going to get, whereas how much of your portfolio return is attributable directly to the market. That's what a beta is. Just as an FYI, if you have a beta of 1, my friends, that means every single ounce of return you receive is directly attributable to the stock market in of itself. So if I got a 10% rate of return and I got a beta of 1, that means the S&P 500 had a 10% rate of return. Does that make sense? So a beta of 1, you don't want that if you're going to pay some guy to run your money, because he's not doing anything for you, which is why they call it alpha. Alpha is the outperformance of the market relative to what this guy's able to do for you. So he returns 11%. The market gives you a 10%. He has a 10%, or was that? Yeah, I guess a 10% beta or alpha, 10% beta, 10% alpha, because the market is 10, you're getting 11. 10 of that 11 is attributed directly to the market. The other 10% is attributed to his alpha. Does that make sense? But he's charging 1.25 on the whole portfolio, not just on the gain, but the whole thing. You can't make money that way. But anyway, so they got these studies from Morningstar, Vanguard, that try to show the value of an advisor, and it's just it's kind of going back to my whole thing with economics. Economics has got so far down the freaking rabbit hole of mathematics that, like I was reading the other day, even physicists think it's nuts how much economics has math. It's just physics envy is what it is. And what we have in a financial advisory is they're desperate to look like they're real science too. That's why we have the evidence of investing, or evidence-based investing. It's just all freaking stupid and silly. And so we got to somehow quantify our value to you, Tom, say, look, I'm a financial advisor. Look at this study from Vanguard. They show that a financial advisor will generate 3.63% gamma over you doing it yourself. And I mean, as if there's some science to this. There's none. I don't understand. So the answer is no. My man John says Texas has implemented 100% carbon capture gas plants to generate electricity. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. You know what the best carbon capture is? It's going to be the big trees out there. Plant a tree or die. There's an old punk rock band from Boston named Tree. One of their albums says plant a tree or die. They just like to smoke dope, though. So What is your opinion? I cannot stand the Oxford Club. If we're talking about the same one, the limits on growth, is that what we're talking about? Pat Schuster says, what's my opinion on the Oxford Club? Just fraud from 1973 and 74. Just fraud. I like how now they're saying the Oxford Club predictions from the early 70s are proven true. That freaking bull crap. I can't stand them. They've been all, look, man, these guys are all corporatist globalists. They know the rich guys feel guilty. The Tom Steyers in the world, they feel guilty for freaking trading paper and getting huge amounts of profit. Same with George Soros. They're not generating any wealth. They're not figuring out, like my man George Mitchell, how to freaking horizontal drill and do hydraulic fracturing to get natural gas so I can live this winter in peace and comfort here in Georgia by burning natural gas. All these guys are doing is just freaking moving money. Mitt Romney, all freaking mittens, punk. You're sitting there saying, we're going to fire all these people, but we're caring for you. Nah, freaking mittens, you kiss my butt. I'm going to start doing videos of people who can kiss my butt because that guy infuriates me. He's just all corporatists, man. And so they're guilty. They all have their huge homes. Remember when Mittens was building that huge home in San Diego? Oh, yeah, but he cared about us. Yeah, bull crap. And yet they got 6 homes. They're flying around private jets. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing, the motorcades. We all get how this is. And they're guilty because they say, why did I get rich from firing all these people? Why did I get rich doing it? So I got to show my street cred that I care about the environment. Yes, clowns. The tax bracket of, I keep thinking I'm hearing my man. Okay, guess not. Nope. All right. The tax bracket, my friend over here says a tax bracket of 22% could be 20. Well, that's a good point, Jill. The issue is if we're in a 22% tax bracket now, it certainly could be 25 or 28 in the future. But that's again kind of the bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. So should you pay the tax now at 22, assuming it's going to be 25 or 28 in the future, assuming that you're going to be in a higher tax, that's a tough one. It's a tough one. I mean, if you think about it, an extra, so let's just in broad numbers. If I have $10,000 tax at 22%, that's $2,200. If I have $10,000 tax at 25%, that's $2,500. That's just $300 more I'm paying. Is that $300 that I'm potentially avoiding in the future worth paying $2,200 more today to potentially avoid that extra $300 in the future? And that's the issue. I mean, it's just the present value of money. So I know I'll lose $2,200 today. I could lose $2,500 in the future. At the end of the day, it's a $300 difference. $300, 8, 7, 9 years from now, versus $2,200 today. Kind of got to weigh those two, and I don't know, man. And look, I'm not saying don't do it. It's not quite as a burden as I think a lot of people think. The burden comes, I'm just telling you, the burden comes when Charlotte survives me, as she certainly will. And I leave her with a $400,000 IRA. She jumps into my Social Security, and now she's single. That's not a good place to be because she'll have that big IRA. Her life expectancy is close to mine, so she's going to have the stretch. I'm saying in terms of the RMD tables will be similar to mine, and yet she won't have 2 standard deductions, married, filing, joint tax brackets, and whatnot. And on top of that, at that stage, more of her Social Security will be taxed because Social Security, I hate to keep going back to this, but the provisional income rules, the combined income, provisional income and combined income are the exact same thing. The IRS calls it combined. I don't know why we started calling it provisional income in the financial advisory business, but I have that ingrained in my head. So if you're married filing jointly, my provisional income before I have to pay tax on my Social Security, I can have 32. Was it the first 32,000? Yeah, the first 32,000 of my provisional income is tax free, meaning I have no tax on Social Security if my provisional income is 32,000 or less. From 32 to 44, only 50% of that amount is subject to tax. So 32 to 44 is $12,000. So if I have provisional income of $44,000, only $6,000 of my Social Security will be subject to income tax. If I'm single, the provisional income rules are up to $25,000. $25,000, nothing subject to income tax. From 25 to 34, 50% of that is subject to tax. Does that make sense? So anything above 34, 85% is. And so I'm telling you right now, again, the single people get screwed. It's just all that's the widow's tax trap right there, part and parcel. So if I have a big RMD, $25,000, immediately, my provisional income, I guarantee some of my Social Security benefit will be subject to income tax. Now I might have a big enough standard deduction to write that whole thing off. I don't know, but I mean, that's the difference between how the singles have to look at it versus married filing jointly. If you're single, you know who I'm talking about, my friend. Well, you can't, there's nothing really to manipulate in terms of tax code because you're already in the single tax code. If you're married filing jointly, though, you're trying to manipulate it. And I don't mean like take advantage of it. You're just saying this is the law. I'm trying to squirrel as much away into the lowest possible tax bracket I can today so that my surviving spouse won't get killed unawarely when she's 86 years old. It's freaking nuts. But they care about the working people. Perfect timing. You were using my figures. If I take Social Security at 2020, well, on vacation on October 2nd, my big heart company gave me a great severance package, not taking Social Security till 2022. So Al says, part 2 video, perfect timing. My big heart company turned me. My big hearted company let you go. Gave me a great severance package, not taking Social Security to 2022. Falcons have never been the same since 28 to 3. I got to tell you the story. I told you the story. I can't watch the Patriots. You all know that, right? So when the Patriots were playing the Seahawks, I was picking up my daughter. She was watching at a friend's house she's up in Cumming, Georgia, as a matter of fact. And I was picking her up, and we're driving back, and I couldn't listen anymore. So my brother was texting me, and he's like, "Oh man, you watching this?" And no, he goes, "Oh, this sucks." So I said, "Okay." Oh, that was the Patriots, yeah, against the Seahawks. And I said, "All right." And then, but then he started texting a little bit more excitable. He says, "The Patriots are coming." Yeah, the Patriots are. Was a Seahawks. Yeah, it was a Seahawks. The Patriots are coming back, dude. I was like, I don't care. So I literally sat in not with the carbon monoxide on. I just sat in my garage. I turned the car off. I just sat there waiting for him to text me. And I was waiting to hear the bad news. And when what's his name got the Seahawks caught that ball off his butt on the 3-yard line, and it looked like the Pats are going to win. I was like, all right, I know this can't be true. But anyway, he texted me, and all it said is just like the Giants all over. I sit in my garage. Now look, I did not have the car on. Just be advised. He said it looked like the Giants all over. I said, "You've got to be kidding me." I said, "What?" So I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting there thinking, "What's going on?" He didn't text me back. That rat Fink. He didn't text me back. I was like, "Dude." So I'm sitting there. I said, "All right." After 10 minutes, I finally go in begrudgingly. I turn on the TV, and Tom Brady's going like this with a big smile on his face. I was like, "What is going? Why is Tom Brady smiling when they lost?" And I said, man, what the hell? And then long story short, that's when I found out that Malcolm Butler got the interception. I couldn't believe it. Long story short, so my wife and I were sitting up watching Downton Abbey or something like that. I think it's Downton Abbey. And, I'd watched this 14-0 freaking Falcons. So I was actually working out in the basement. I said, I'm not going to do this anymore. Turn off the stupid game. So I'm just like, basically put a tourniquet around my neck. And I'm about to jump off a bridge. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm being facetious, by the way. I'm just being joking. Anyway, I'm like, this sucks, dude. And so I get up there, and my brother texts me, he goes, "You're not watching this anymore, are you?" I said, "Hell no, I stopped watching out the first quarter. It's 28-3. He goes, "Yeah, the freaking Patriots, they suck." I remember telling my wife, "Hey, buddy, hey, thanks, babes. You want to come say hi to everybody?" "Oh, okay." My wife said no, she didn't want to be on camera. Anyway, well, actually, if she was on camera, you'd say, "What the hell is she doing with this ugly clown?" Anyway, so I'll get her on camera these days. I almost had her interviewed the other day. She almost said, "Okay, hey, buddy." Well, anyway, so we're sitting there watching Downton Abbey, and I said, damn, it's like I got to work around the traffic for the freaking parade for the Falcons that they're going to go through downtown. I work downtown. I was like, oh. Anyway, then my brother started texting me, "Dude, they're coming back. I said, no way. And then after, I think didn't Edelman get, no, who was it got the touchdown? I forgot. Anyway, it wasn't Edelman. I forgot who got the overtime touchdown. But anyway, I could not believe it. 28, you know how much of a comeback this is? 28-3 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter? Nuts. And when the Patriots played the Rams, I didn't watch that. Anyway, so there you go. All right. Everyone's all excited that I told you that story. All right. So, yeah, come here, bub. Oh, there we go. Pablo's going to make an appearance. There we go. Woo. Yeah, Renee says 1.25 is way too much. That's right, Renee. Tom, that's the going rate. Don't pay. It's a going rate, but you don't need to pay that. It's nuts. Here's the way I look at it. There are more and more advisors that are charging you for the fee for service. Like what I tell people, I just tell people, like, I don't tell people how to invest specifically. I say, go to Vanguard, buy some index funds and be done with it. But I do financial planning, and there are slowly but surely more and more advisors are going that route because it's a money losing proposition for someone to pay for them to charge you to manage money. You cannot make money that way relative to the market as a whole. It's literally an impossibility. And the reason for that is, I've shared this a million times a Sunday. So everyone kept saying you're assuming, what was it? So if you look at a market, we have a market return is just a mean of all the participants in the market is literally what it is. All right. So all the participants in the market, that's the market return. It's the mean. All right. There's no other way around that. So if the mean's 8%, that means some people got more than 8, some people got less. But when you factor in the fees, the vast majority of market participants are on the left side of the mean because at the mean is before fees. After fees, the vast majority are on the left side of the bell curve because they cannot perform better than the market in mass net of fees. It's an impossibility. It's an impossibility. And everyone's like, you're assuming this is in a vacuum. But that's what people kept saying. It's like, that didn't make any sense to me. People are challenging me. You're assuming that the investment world is in a vacuum. I said, no, there are some people who can outperform. That's a fact. The question is, you don't know who those guys are. You don't know who they are in advance. You don't know if they'll continue to do it. We have no clue. It's easy to say Peter Lynch outperformed with Fidelity Magellan in hindsight, but in 1981, no one knew who the hell Peter Lynch was. No one did. Chris Davis from the New York Davis Venture Fund was a great portfolio manager. I don't know if he still, I have no idea. But no one had, but that's in hindsight. No one knew who the hell Chris Davis was before he became a great mutual fund manager. And I guarantee he's fallen on some hard times since then. Bill Miller from Legg Mason Value Trust. No one knew who Bill Miller was in he started his streak in 1992, I think, where he beat the S&P 500 15 years in a row, and everyone was singing his glory. And Bill Miller said, don't, it's luck. It's luck. And same thing, he went from 5-star rating from Morningstar to 1-star within 18 months. He's come back around a few years ago, but no one knew. No one knew who Bill Miller was. When they knew who he was, they bought into him after the fact. They got smoked. Same thing with Peter Lynch. Same thing. Again, I'm assuming Chris Davis from the Davis New York Venture Fund. Bill Danoff from Fidelity Contra Fund. And he runs the Fidelity New Insights. It's been a while since I've looked at, I know he's still running the Contra Fund, I think. But he was a good fund manager. But again, we don't know if he will continue to be. We have no idea. We have no idea. And then guy I'm missing here is another guy like Ed Owens, who used to run the Vanguard Healthcare Fund. Everyone's singing Ed Owens' praises like crazy. But then healthcare stocks fell off a cliff, and everyone hated that guy. And he doesn't run that fund anymore. We just don't know. And so everyone's like, you're not operating in a vacuum. They're assuming that there are going to be some people who outperform. And 100%, no one would not grant you that. It's like no one, as climate change skeptics, no one would ever say we don't think that climate changes. We do. No one says it doesn't do this. No one says no one can beat the market. We don't say that. We're just saying it's basically a complete crapshoot to identify those people in advance. We just don't know who they're going to be. Well, based on previous performance, what do they say on every single perspective? Past performance is no indication of future success. We just know this. So what you do is you say, I'm going to go with the mean because I know the mean will beat most of my peers when you factor in fees. And then you got to factor in taxes too. And if you start factoring taxes, is freaking blood on the streets for active managers. That's for sure. Let's see. Fee only advisor. When you say fee only advisor, that just tells James White. That's right on James White. Thanks, Rob. You're a good man. I don't care what they say. Thanks, Starling. You're a good man too. I don't care what they say about you in Hawaii there. I could fee only advisors, not really what I'm talking about, because they're the ones that say I only charge 1% or 1.25% or something like that. What was I gonna say? Or fiduciary advisor. I don't even care about that term either. Like I like my man Dustin Tibbetts over at Jazz Wealth, and I like him because I actually think he is, from what I've seen by Dustin in my conversations with him and seeing how him work, he actually takes the time to educate people so they can essentially go on their own way, which I freaking think is fantastic. I love it. I love that. I get questions all the time. Can you manage my money? I know I don't want to. I have no desire to do that whatsoever. And I don't think, because I know it's not worth paying. I would not feel comfortable getting a fee for managing people's assets, because I know I'll do worse than an index fund on average, because it's inevitable. But what I like about Dustin over there at Jazz Wealth in Florida, Seminole, Florida, is he's operating a shop where he wants to educate you. So ultimately, you can run the show yourself, and I think that's fantastic. But most fee-only guys will say they're fiduciaries, as if that has any freaking street cred. The only reason that has street cred is because people, what's her name? Geez Louise, I'm drawing a blank. But some of the big wigs in the magazines. There's a woman out there, and I'm drawing a blank what her name is. Anyway, she's like, you should only get a fiduciary, never a stockbroker or commission-based. It's all the friggin' same. You're losing money from a commission-based guy. You're losing money from a fee-only lady. It doesn't matter. Neither of them are going to outperform. In fact, if anything, over the long run, the commission-based guy will outperform. Hey, Marty. All right, there's Marty from LAL, who sent me some good articles I just read. Gray Riff is here. What's going on? Okay, good question, Peter. So Peter says, how's an immediate annuity tax in an IRA? I get this question a lot. So the immediate annuity is only, so let's say we have $500,000 in an IRA. We put we'll say 200,000 in a SPIA, an immediate annuity. The 200,000 is going inside the umbrella of an IRA still. Does that make sense? So basically what's going to happen, you got 300,000 in an IRA still, and you got 200,000 in this immediate annuity. The immediate annuity will probably pay you $11,000 a year. So it's only taxed at $11,000 a year that comes out. $11,000 a year that comes out. That's it. It's not taxed from the removal of it from this IRA into the SPIA. It's only taxed the income that comes out, because it's still maintaining the IRA umbrella. Now, the issue here is this $300,000 is still going to have growth, or it doesn't matter, but it's still going to have required minimum distributions. That makes sense? So this 200,000 no longer has RMDs. It's $11,000 a year coming out. There's no required distributions. Every year you get $11,000 a year. And you're paying income tax from the very first penny. This 300,000 though is still going to have RMDs. It could go up, could go down, could go sideways. So you got to remember that. So you have two sources of income once you hit 70 years old. One will be from this guy, the IRA. The other will be from this income annuity. Now, if the income annuity is done before you're 70 and a half, well, there's still no RMD here either, but there's certainly income coming out that's coming out at 11,000 a year clip, and you're going to have to pay tax on that. So you're going to have to pay tax on that SPIA regardless if you're 70 and a half or not, but there is no penalty or anything like that. I get that question a lot, and I don't know how else to explain that. It's just what's up, buddy? Once you have a SPIA, an income annuity, you're not getting taxed as if there's no RMD and there's no penalty to open that account. Excuse me, big man. All right. Yeah, Jets tomorrow. Yeah, the Patriots have not had a tough schedule. Patriots have had a weak schedule. The Nats, that's right, man. The Nats in the World Series. The Nats against the Astros. How happy was to see the Yanks get spanked. That's awesome. Hate the Yanks. Let's see. Rob says, I believe the Jets have a real chance tomorrow. Of course, anytime the Patriots are playing, they're probably going to lose. That's inevitable. Mark Tierney says not. Man, Mark, come on, dude. You just jinxed the Patriots by saying they don't have a chance to lose. All right, are we required to take minimum distributions at age 59 from a Roth IRA? No, you're not required ever to take RMDs other than a Roth 401k. You're not required to take required minimum distributions. Now, Roth 401k, you are once you hit 70 and a half. So just roll that puppy over to a Roth IRA. Absolutely. Yeah, there you go. Take out your leisure. Yep. Hey, Tina, what's going on? Another Philly lady. Philly in the house, my man Mark and Tina. Hey. Just got home from India. And so Tina went to Puerto Rico, Alaska, India, and the Philippines. So, Tina, of all four of those places, Alaska, Puerto Rico, the Philippines, and India, what is your favorite? What would you say? Could you see yourself living in India or no, the Philippines and paying $200 a year in property tax? Like a lot of people, not a lot, but some people are saying on the channel, like they can own a home in the Philippines for $200 in property tax. I couldn't do it. I just look, I'm freaking, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm a nationalist. I just love America. I could not literally, I don't even want to go to any Western European places. They're not like us, man. People are different. I like it in America. I like the people here, from Washington. I was in Seattle, Chloe and I was just taking a walk in SeaTac over by SeaTac airport. These two ladies were fishing on I thought it was crappy. I mean, literally it looked like a dump, but they're fishing off it, getting some kind of fish coming out of there. And they're, striking up a conversation, just nice people. People are nice. Generally, you give them a smile. People say hello to you. Seattle's got some freak shows in there, but we weren't accosted. And Antifa didn't find us. But other than those crazy people in America are just nice. You know what I'm saying? All shapes and sizes. Actually, I stuck my credit card in trying to come out when the parking garage is there so we could go to the fish marketplace. I couldn't get my credit card out. I was like, oh, so I had to call, and some guy had to come. Took him about 30 minutes to come and get my credit card out. He's an immigrant from someplace. He's happy to be here. Nice guy, working hard on a Sunday afternoon. Let me go through the thing, and I gave him a $5 tip. He's like, "You don't have to do that." I said, "I don't have to do that, but hell, dude, coming out on a Sunday afternoon to get my credit card. People are good. I guess that's the difference between some folks that we feel people are naturally good. Other people feel that people are naturally bad. But for me, I just love America. I can't see myself living any other place. The one thing about the ladies who are fishing, they go, "Where are you from?" I said, "Atlanta." She goes, "Oh, we're sorry." I said, "Why?" She goes, it's not as pretty out there as it is in Washington." I said, "We have the sun on a regular basis." She goes, "Yeah, you get used to it." I said, "Not me, man. Hell, my wife was griping about being cold today, and we went down to Georgia Tech. It's like 60 degrees. I said, "Dude." David says it's called demographic transition. Yeah, I'm not sure. In terms of, I got you. In terms of the population changing and the things of that nature. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to behold for sure. More and more older people, fewer and fewer younger people, more and more robots, and that's what's happening. Look, man, do I think the life is freaking bowl of cherries? No, I don't even like cherries. Bowl of, I don't know, freaking raspberries. No, but at the end of the day, it's like there's a lot to be happy for. All right. Question. Stupid. Kevin says he's got a stupid question. Saving 13 years in a 401k traditional, 300,000, not actual. Then decided to start saving from zero into Roth 401k. Would my money have grown more if I continue in traditional? It just depends on your investments. Or I guess you're saying at the end of the day, if you're doing after tax, like you're putting 12,000 in pre-tax and 10,000 in post-tax. I mean, at the end of the day, if all things being equal, if you're in the same tax bracket, when you start pulling it out, you have the same investments, it's literally the same. No other way around that. What people don't get, I'm telling you, people don't understand how traditional 401k, traditional IRAs affect their Social Security taxation. Not all things are equal when it comes to taxes on Social Security. I'll say this until I'm blue in the face. Provisional income rules determine how much of your Social Security benefits taxed. Roth IRA distributions have nothing. They do not do anything when it comes to your modified adjusted gross income. So you got literally have $1 million from a Roth IRA distribution, and you have freaking $50,000 of Social Security. Not one penny of either that is taxed. Now you have $50,000 from Social Security, and we'll say $50,000 from an IRA distribution. Your Social Security, 85% of that's taxed. It's literally that simple. And so when people just get in this vacuum of saying taxes on pre-tax, tax on post-tax, and they're saying everything else is equal, no, it's freaking not equal. It's not. Roth is not subject to modified adjusted gross income when it comes to provisional income tax or IRMA for Medicare stuff. So Roth is better more often than not, but again, not for everybody. It just depends on your certain situation. Tom, I'm a self-investor. I want a second pair of eyes on my strategy, but I don't want to pay 1.25. Jimmy's in the house. Yeah, do you go to Garrett Financial Planning Network? You know, they charge like $250 or something like that. They charge by the hour. Jill says, no RMDs until 75. Yeah, okay, there you go. Thanks for all the topics you cover. You got it, Alan. Right on, man. Yeah, right on, Mary. Fee only just relates to paying the advisor, not actually purchasing stocks or funds. Yeah, fear the turtle. That's exactly right. Hey, Tom. Thanks. Appreciate you being on here, brother. Fee only just pays the advisor directly, not paying a commission. That's all it means. It's literally, that's all it means. We got PA in the house. Marie, what's going on? I use personal capital. What's the opinion on personal capital? You know, the software is okay. It is lacking on taxes, which most software is. Mark, most of the financial planning software lacks on taxes, and taxes are what I enjoy. I'm weird like that. But the retirement stuff was good. I liked it in terms of using them to manage your money. I just don't think anyone needs it. I mean, this is, I don't know how else to say this. I think paying somebody a fee to manage your accounts is money's thrown down the drain. I really, truly believe that. But look, man, I get it. People are nervous about it. They don't want to make mistakes on that. I get it. But you put in an index fund, and if you're really that nervous, you put 50% of the S&P 500 and 50% in CDs. It's literally that simple. All these people, they have this thing that they're going to maximize their performance with, you know, I don't know, friggin' look. I interviewed my man Craig Israelson from the 712 portfolio, which I love. I love the portfolio. It's just too complex. I told Craig, I said, I said, Craig, I said, man, if you all could have just like a one-stop shop or someone could buy that, you know, even if it's, you know, 45 bips or some basis points, you know, less than 0.5%, that'd be great. And they don't have that. So you literally got to go in there and manually do all that stuff. And it's just no one does that. This is why I go to my barbell portfolio, because no one, I mean, I guess some people do, but no one wants to take the time, and rightly so, by the way, because you got other things to do. You want to go fishing. You want to go freaking mow the lawn. You want to just, I don't know, stick your head down the toilet and flush. I don't know. But there's something else to do than manage investment money. Just how boring is that? The idea that you or I have any idea what the market is going to do, somehow we can take advantage of that. I hear all the time, by the way, the one thing I do want to point out, I get this a lot. If the market falls, I'm buying in. I'm like, well, that means you have cash now. Literally, if the market falls, you're buying in. I hear this all the time. I hear if the market drops, I'm going all in. Well, that would tell me you have cash. What are you doing on cash? I don't get that. I mean, I don't get it. So, you know, my investments, I've said a million times a Sunday, I'm 100% in two funds and two funds only. VTV, Victory Tango Victor, Victor Tango Victor, and VDIGX, the Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund. So I got the Vanguard Value Index Fund is the bulk of my holdings, and I got the Vanguard Dividend Growth Mutual Fund. That's it. And I literally don't pay any attention. I just don't care. Now, look, I used to, and I still on occasion, like, oh man, if I would have had that, you know, I could be 10,000 rich or whatever. I don't care, because at the end of the day, it's just a waste of my time. And then what happens is you start chasing. You're basically looking at like a gambling operation. And investing is not gambling. You're owning the companies that you frequent every single day. The Walmarts, the Costco's, the Kroger's, the freaking, you know, heaven forbid Nike, even though I do have a pair of Nikes, and my kids do too, but, you know, and I freaking hate those guys. But still, at the end of the day, you're frequenting these, I don't know, LL Beans. I don't even know if they're public. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. These are the companies that you're frequenting every single day, that your neighbors are working at, that are paying a dividend, that are paying taxes into America. This isn't gambling. This is not speculating. These are saying I'm investing in these companies as they make money. Theoretically, my share price should go up. There's no guarantee of that, but it inherently makes sense. As they make money, they're going to do better for you as well. And it's not speculation. So all these people have all these rules and 3-factor portfolio. Now I think it's a 5-factor stuff. It's just, oh, kill me now, especially when all the evidence says just buy the damn index and hang in there when the markets go up, hang in there when the markets go down, and be done with it. If you don't want to be fully aggressive, then keep some in cash. I shared a lady the other day, the Vanguard Ginnie Mae fund, VFIIX, and that's Victory Foxtrot India X-ray, VFIIX. It's a great bond fund. Is it the best bond fund? No. What is the best bond fund? I have no clue. Neither do you. No one has any clue. But the Vanguard Ginnie Mae fund is a government national mortgage association. Last I checked, it was yielding about 2 3/4. It's been around since 1980. It's had 2 down years. That's it. Just you can't beat it, man. Now it's not, you're never going to get rich, but you're not going to make a killing, but you're not going to get killed either. That's what I love about it, because it's just, you take half your money and then put in the total stock index, half the money in Vanguard Ginnie Mae. Not a bad portfolio. Is it the most efficient? No. Are you missing out on potential international? Yes. Are you ever gonna have to say you're sorry? Probably not, because you're like, I do okay. That's okay to do okay. I think people waste way too much time investing. I'm thinking that there's some way that they can trick the market into doing better, and there's just not. And so because of that, once you kind of you drink the Kool-Aid here, you realize the absurdity is to pay anybody to do this for you. A, they don't care about your money as much as you do, and B, they're going to do worse. It's inherent. And C, if I may, this is what freaking pisses me off. You put $100,000 in with Joe Loser investment guy. Joe Loser investment guy says, "Yeah, sorry, Josh, but you're down $90,000. We both lost money." I say, whoa. I'm down $10,000. I still paid you. I didn't pay you $1,000. I paid you $900 or something like that. So you still got paid. I'm down 10,000. You aren't down 10,000. You're only down. You're not down. You still have a positive cash flow of $900. Even though I'm down 10,000. That's not right. That ticks me off. So, we're still on your side. That's what Fisher Investments guy does. And by the way, the guy from Fisher Investor, Ken Fisher, I'm a huge fan of Ken Fisher. He is a capitalist. I don't think you should invest with him just because I don't think it's worth paying a fee. He's in the news because he said some silly joke about freaking, I don't know, something about some sexual innuendo. Can people just pipe down, for heaven's sake? There's a lady I interviewed on my podcast who's trying to make this a big way to get business, and it freaking ticks me off. It ticks me off. Some dude says something stupid, off the cuff, whoop-de-flip and do. And there's this lady now, we need more women in the business, and we need more speakers who are women at the podium. And I'm just like, you're just exploiting this. It bothers me. Some dude made a mistake. Freaking, wait, you gonna crucify this guy? Give me a flipping break. I cannot stand. You said something, I'm offended. So I'm so offended, I'm going to try to get business from showing how offended I am. This whole thing of, I got you. You said this. Yeah, screw that, man. I'm done with all that stuff. So I hate to say it. If I say something to offend somebody, don't care. I just don't care. I'm going to say what I want to say, and you don't have to subscribe, and you can tell me to go to hell. I don't care. I'm tired of being offended by everything. You live in the United States of America. You have no wants in this country. If you're finding offended by some guy with some stupid joke and you can't get over that, that's something that you have got going on, not me. I'm done. I'm not playing it. Yeah. All right. Enough of that. All right. So my man Sean says, is this my man? No, this is a different. Oh, buddy, you keep doing that. Is this Sean from the Boston area? No, you can't. No, don't do that. All right. Am I able to roll over? Buddy. Oh, sorry. I just hold on just a second. We got my man Pablo trying to get at the. Hold on just a second. Pablo's trying to type away. I miss. Hold on just a second. There we go. Am I able to roll over an HSA account into another account during retirement that allows me to pull out my earnings tax free? Yeah, there's something about, Sean, you can roll your HSA into a Roth like once, I think one time only. And I don't know the whole rules on that, but you can do it. I know a couple people have sent me articles on that. I think I did one a few months back, but this looks freaking fantastic, dude. It was fantastic. I don't remember the whole circumstance, but I remember it's like you got one shot to do it. You can't keep doing it, but that looked fantastic. Let's see. Did I understand? My man Rick says that if you have a pension that pays 100% to spouse after you die, helps make the Roth conversion more favorable. I would think that would be my take, Rick. And the reason for that is because we know for a fact that her income is still going to be just as high as it is now. Her income will be here. The SBP, the Survivor Benefit Plan, in the military, they lose 45%. So their income is going to drop by 45%, which means their tax bracket could also drop. But if your surviving spouse is going to get 100% of your pension, and she's only going to lose the smallest of the Social Security, so her income isn't going to drop that much, and it might not even drop a tax bracket. In fact, when you factor in the fact she's no longer married, filing jointly, but a single taxpayer, and she loses a standard deduction, and the tax brackets go up, there's a good chance her income tax bracket will go higher in that regard. Hope that makes sense. So yeah, if she's getting 100% joint life survivor pension or annuity, the Roth IRAs are definitely more favorable. Roth conversions are definitely more favorable. You got Tom. Craig Bryson, late to the party. My question might be personal. You certainly can defer. Why did I leave Vanguard? Yeah, it's just too political, Craig. I mean, this is back in 2000. They were going, they fired Jack Bogle, and that was a big issue, and that kind of stubbed me wrong. I mean, the guy freaking founded the damn company, and they, once you got 65, they set you to pastor. He didn't want to leave, but they forced him out. They said, we can't keep you here, and that wasn't right. And John Brennan was the CEO at that point, and they were just getting too political at that point. I'm sure they only got worse now. And I'll never forget when I went to HR. I don't want to get to. I remember thinking, you guys are holding yourself as holier than now, and yet you guys are just as political and corporate as everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And I just didn't like it. It was just, I didn't like it. I can't. If you don't toe the line in corporate America, you will be on the outside looking in. Let's just put it that way. And I could see that happen at Vanguard. I said, I don't want to do this. And that's the best thing about freedom. You don't have to. They have a right as business owners to do what they want. They don't own the business. We all own the business. But I didn't like the way they were going. And then let go of Bogle, kind of was the straw that broke the camel's back. It was fun on my exit interview. I let them know that I'm sure I'll never get hired there again. And that's fine. I'm never going back in this business. I'm doing this, and if this doesn't work out, I'll go dig ditches or something. I don't care. I'm not burning bridges. I'm just, in terms of my client base, but I am burning bridges from the professional advisors. I won't keep my Series 7. I think that's already gone now. My 65, all my insurance licenses. I'll keep my CFP. Even that I'm challenging now on, because the CFP board is a freaking mess too, dude. Oh my goodness. CFP board, I don't know what. And I dropped my membership in the FPA. I dropped my membership in NAPFA. I think the industry has a lot of wants. Let's just put it that way. And I think the industry as a whole has a lot of the need to have a come to Jesus moment, saying we're not serving the vast majority of Americans. We're not. And yet we're getting paid off a smaller sliver of people who are willing to lose their money because of this idea that they can't do it themselves on investing. And Vanguard is serving that role for you to invest your money there. But for me as an employee, no way. My man says, Joe Zip, aloha, Josh. Have you thought about a planning package that allows your clients to have their kids get a quick look as well? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I charge $250 an hour, $500 for a full-fledged. If I'm going to review their stuff, if they just got some questions, I charge $250 for an hour call. If they want me to review anything on their investments, I need an hour to look at it and an hour on the call. That'd be $500. That's what I charge. So absolutely. Let's see. I think you move on. Yeah, there you go. My explicit asset fee is 1.26, but my mutual fund performance makes up for the high fee. That's what Great Rift Share is. Josh Ducer is those who can kiss my butt. You like that, David? I don't want to come across like an angry, get off my lawn. I just, consider, hourly rate. Right, Mark. That's what I was talking about, the Garrett Financial Planning Network. They do hourly stuff, hourly consultations. Tom says, to properly diversify, shouldn't you be invested in at least 15 to 30% international? Yeah, what's properly diversified? We're talking the MPT, the non-efficient market theory, the modern portfolio theory, MPT. I don't care. All this stuff is silly. If we look at the guy who came up with MPT, Markowitz, he never meant it for the average investor. The whole thing is silly. So FINRA, the Financial Regulatory Agency, and the SEC, Josh, you're giving investment guidance. Did you use MPT as your model for investment guidance? And MPT is market or modern portfolio theory. And you're like, no, I just said go in the S&P 500 index and be done with it. Whoa, oh. Don't you know MPT, a properly diversified portfolio, is the only free lunch out there? And you say, is it really? Is it really? Really? Yes, it is. How do we know that? Because Harry Markowitz, I don't even know if he won a Nobel. I don't know. I frankly don't care. But Martin, he talks about it, and all the economists all agree with that now. I said, I don't care. I'll go with what Jack Bogle says, and hell, Warren Buffett. Go 10% treasuries and 90% S&P 500. I'm very comfortable with that. So, yeah, if you want an international, more power to you. I don't. I literally, the currency exchange rates and all that, the manipulation, the fluctuation, the fact that it's not based on profits, is based on currency exchange. And currency exchange can be manipulated across the spectrum. Just keeping the good old US of A and be done with it. My man Hector says, can I make almost 60 a year? Oh, I make almost 60 a year. Should I put my money on a 401k or Roth 401k living in California? That depends, Hector. Just if you're married, I mean, just the whole thing comes down to what you're going to have when you hang up your boots. If you're married filing jointly, I'm putting into a Roth 100%. I'm paying the tax now to avoid many taxes in the future. If I'm single, maybe not. Simply because I got FICA right now. I don't know. But generally speaking, if you're married filing jointly and you're making $60,000 a year, you're probably just barely in the 12% bracket. I'd pay the 12% tax and put in the Roth. Absolutely, never to have to pay tax again for sure. When you think about it, your Social Security is going to be $2,500 a month roughly when you hit full retirement age. So that's $30,000 right there. After taxes, FICA, 401k contributions, you're probably only living on $45,000 anyway. So I would absolutely much rather have a Roth IRA than a traditional. But I don't know your whole situation. I would default to the Roth until I was able to be convinced by evidence that said I need to go the other route. If I converted to Roth today, it would all be taxed at 24%, but my wife and I could withdraw 100 per K under current tax laws and retirement at 12%. Yeah, that's tough to beat that, man. That's for sure. HSA distributions must be used for past, current, or future qualified medical expenses and not to be taxed plus have a penalty. 165 you can take for anything, but you paid taxes. You got a Hector. Hey, big A's in the house. Right on. Can we get tree marriage so I can marry my tree in joint filing? Yeah. I tell you, Bob, you'll be able to. Why not? I mean, you can say you're half a man, half a woman, and marry yourself, I guess, right? Rob says, thanks. What I do appreciate the $4.99, Rob. We all just want to succeed in life. You provide the key to make that happen. You're greatly appreciated by all of us. You got it, Rob. Appreciate it, brother. Rob and I talked about his experience with the VA the other day. It was actually pretty interesting. It was good. It was good. It was an interesting experience that he had. It wasn't life changing, but it was good. I was happy to hear what he said for sure. It was good stuff. Go Saints says we got Kenneth. I also had a guy on here. I think it's Tom Breaux, Breaux. I hate the Saints dudes. Saints with all white today, huh? I was never seen the Saints in all white. That was kind of odd. I kind of like that actually. The gold helmets with all white. That was cool. I was living in China, says Mark. Monday morning, could not believe it. I must have missed that conversation. Mark, you were living in China Monday morning, could not believe it. David, when I run Roth conversions for about 8 years in Right Capital, it shows a huge reduction in income taxes over 100,000 in 24 years of retirement. Oh, that's what freaking makes Right Capital so awesome. Then you can look at actual 1040 as well. Yeah, Rob said he came with his seconds of shutting off at 28-3 too. Yeah, man. Super Bowl 51, greatest game ever. Oh, man. Remember that? I mean, I don't remember. I didn't watch. I did watch Aaron Boone hit that home run against the Sox. That's painful. That was painful. But I also watched, was it Kevin Millar get the walk against freaking the man of the hour, freaking Mariano. Mariano, you know he's only 5'8". That guy's like 5'8", $170. That guy, and when I think it's Millar, got that walk, they put Dave Roberts on. Remember, the Red Sox are down 3-0. 3-0. They're down, I think they're down by 2 with Mariano Rivera on in the bottom of the ninth. And Dave Roberts gets that stolen base to second. I'll never forget, they panned into the stands, and there's this guy there, a younger guy, going, yes, after Dave Roberts got that stolen base. And I said, dude, why are you so excited? There's no way we're getting at freaking Rivera. I mean, just because he gave up a stolen base doesn't mean crap. And then, I mean, can you believe how many the Red Sox won 4 World Series since then? I mean, how insane is that? From Yaz popping up after the freaking Bucky Dent home run to Wade Boggs to it's insane. It's how much New England sports just, you know, look, I never liked the Celtics. The NBA can kiss my butt. But I mean, the Pats didn't do anything until this new century. The Bruins hadn't won a freaking cup since '74. You know, the Sox. I mean, it's crazy how much we've won because I've been actually on the teams, and you know, having the Bruins go to 3 Stanley Cups and 2, you know, one won Game 7 where they lost the Blues, and Marchand freaking gets off the ice with 4 seconds left in the last of the first period. Oh God! And then of course losing that horrible game to the Blackhawks in 2013. But you know, but the Bruins had 3 just wonderful runs. It's crazy. And then the Reds, it's nuts. Mark says, Spectre says Pablo's appeared. He can leave now. Mark says, best Vanguard mutual funds retirement, 6-year time horizon from now. It's hard to go wrong with Wellington, Mark. I don't own it. Just be advised. I don't own Wellington Fund, but I'm telling you, man, it's tough. Tough to go wrong with that fund. I still love the Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund, the VDIGX. Just be advised, the Dividend Growth Fund only has 40 to 45 stocks in there. So it's a concentrated fund. Concentrated funds are great when they outperform, but they suck donkey, you know what, if they get killed. I'm just telling you. That's why you have to have concentrated funds if you're not going the index. I'm telling you, if you have a closet index fund, you know, you're a fool because you're paying huge fees and you're guaranteed to underperform. So if you're going to go active management and hire some fund manager through an advisor or fund manager, you need to have a concentrated portfolio with a high active share. I'll leave you all to understand what active share is. I'll let you all do some research on that. I'll do another video on that. I have done a couple before. But the only way to outperform is to have a high active share. And that's what Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund. It's only got 40 to 45 stocks in there. So maybe the Wellington with Vanguard Dividend Growth, that's a pretty good fund to have for sure. Now, one thing I do believe in value. Valuations matter. They've always mattered. And I think they always will. And what that just means is the more the higher the price relative to earnings, the less historical growth there is. And that's I don't want to say it's not debatable because anything can change. But if you look at history, the higher the price to earnings ratio of a stock or that you're buying or the market as a whole, the less upside there is. And it inherently makes sense because it's already trading higher than what historical averages would be. The lower PE ratios, the lower value stocks, the more upside there is. So value stocks have low price to earnings ratios relative to the market, low price to book ratios relative to the market as a whole, and high dividend yields. And those three things are what constitutes value stocks. And so the Vanguard Value Value Index will have 300, maybe 200 stocks in there on the value side of the equation. So if you do a bell curve, you split it down the middle, it's probably 60% of the bell will be growth stocks, high PE ratios, high price to books, and low, if any, dividend yields. And the other 40% will be value. Historically, value has outperformed. It just makes sense. You're buying something cheaper, and when it's cheaper, it has more upside for sure. More volatility, more risk, but more upside. So that, going to Wellington Fund, what I have, the Vanguard Value Index Fund, and then having that, somewhat mixed in with a Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund, pretty good portfolio. You're not going to have any qualms from me at all. That's all stocks, just be advised. And stocks go down 25% every 4 years or so. Unfortunately, it's completely random. It doesn't go up, 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 down, up, 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 down. There's no uniformity. It's just as random. It goes like this. You just don't know when it's going to be. But the facts are the markets fall 25% every 4 years. And we had a mini correction in the last quarter, the last part of 2018 is down 19.8%. That's a bear market. Small caps got killed in 2015, I think. International got killed right around 2015. The S&P 500 fell 20%, and right at the beginning of 2016 or 2000, I think it's 2016, and it fell about another 20% in from July to August 2011. So everyone says we haven't had any bear markets. The hell, man, we've had a bunch of mini bears that were pretty doggone close. July to August 2011 was down right about 20%. The start of 2016 was down, I think, 18%. The end of 2018 was down literally a hair under 20%. I mean, that's close enough to bears for me. So if you look at the last 10 years, we've had three close to bear markets. Nothing historically devastating, but 20%. I mean, 18% in 45 days. From July to August 15th, 2011, that's a pretty trying time. Don't forget, in May, the first 2 weeks of May of this year, S&P 500 fell 7%, and 7.7 to be precise, in 2 weeks' time. That's pretty trying times right there, man. So people say, oh, the markets are due for a bear. So what do you think's been happening? It's nuts. Cowboys being the 49ers, the 1992 NFC Championship was the greatest game I've ever seen. I don't remember that one. I don't recall that. That's that freaking hate the Cowboys. The Spanx of the Cowboys, hate them. Who else do I hate? The Canadiens. So I hate the Yankees, hate the Cowboys, Canadiens. The Dolphins, the Jets, I used to hate back in the old days with Richard Todd and Marino and Don Strock and Freeman McNeil and the freaking the Mark. The wide receivers for the freaking Dolphins, man. Mark Dupree. Was that his name, Mark Dupree? I forgot. Oh, freaking hate those guys. So that was when the Patriots are going 2-14 with Steve Grogan. All right, so hey, Bruce, what's going on, man? You're able to take some time off from the work, man? Do I think Schwab going with zero commissions and trading fractional shares would be a game changer? Nah, I don't. I do think, though, a good question, though, Mike. I think at the end of the day, some of these mostly smaller firms, what's the one I have? M1, Betterment, and the other one, Wealthfront. They're all I mean, like TD Ameritrade, was it TD Ameritrade, E-Trade? They're no longer independent. I don't even know where E-Trade is anymore. Scott Trade, that's no longer independent. M1, these other firms, they're not going to stay around long. They're just not going to compete with Schwab and Vanguard. They just can't because they're getting small money. they're getting a guy's accounts for $5,000, and Schwab's getting the guy's accounts for $500,000. And so because of that, Schwab has more buying power in terms of opportunities to sell other products for sure. So no, I don't think it's a big game changer. I just think more writing on the wall, the smaller entities are doomed. I mean, don't forget, I have M1. And if you buy it through my link, I get paid some kind of commission, $20, something like that. I can't remember. I don't make very much money from it, but I like M1. Yeah, I think Schwab will dominate that area. I just don't think that area is that big, to be honest with you, in terms of overall assets. But good question. If you are single and in the 22% tax bracket, you end up with big RMDs on top of at 70 that you really don't need for income. It can cost you more Medicare taxes, just a widow, but guaranteed at 70. For sure. Bill Miller's barbecue. Oh, man, that's funny. Bill Miller's barbecue. Yes, sir. And Rudy's in South Texas. Oh, man. Let's see. There's Brett. Would you hold a high dividend index fund in your long-term retirement bucket to generate income to pull from? No. I wouldn't hold it to generate income to pull from because all income's coming from your retirement account, Brett, is all going to be taxed as ordinary income. So no. If I'm holding a high dividend portfolio, it's going to be in a Roth. I want tax-free, or it's going to be a taxable account, ideally, because don't forget it. If it comes from your IRA or 401k, it's all coming out as ordinary income, as OI. If a high dividend fund comes from a taxable account, it's coming out as a qualified dividend tax at maybe 0, depending on what your tax bracket is. If it comes from a Roth, it's coming out tax-free. So, no. I mean, look, I have a Vanguard. Actually, mine's not in my IRA. I have my dividend is in a taxable account because of that exact scenario. All right. All right. 12B1 fee is only extra expense ratio. Yeah. My man Ross in the house from PEI, Prince Edward Island. All right. Okay. All right. Not everyone is doing fractional shares. Schwab is now doing fractional shares. Yeah. Jazz Wells likes active. Yeah. Because Dustin, he's a trader. He loves that stuff. He enjoys that stuff. That's what I'm saying. He was doing classes, I think like for Chinese investors or something like that on options trading. I mean, so he's a guy who enjoys this. And if you enjoy it, you certainly don't want to be paying someone a 1.25% fee. You just do it yourself. But Dustin enjoys trade. He's a trader. He likes it. And I don't think it's worth it. But hey, man, if you like, hell, I like watching hockey. Why? You know what I'm saying? Hockey's stupid. I don't have anything to do with it, but it freaking makes me sad when the Bruins lose. Why do it? Because I enjoy it. I do. That's stupid, but that's the same thing. He likes doing it. And I don't know if he's good at it or not, but he enjoys it. I got no problem with that. And that's, but what I like about Dustin, he has he's a fair fee for what the services he provides. His fee, I want to say, is 50 basis points if you have 100,000 or something like that. It's not extraordinarily high at all. I think it's like $100 for the first $25,000. Yeah, don't quote me, but it's, when I talked to Dustin before I felt comfortable recommending people to him, I saw his fees. He has it front and center on his website, which is everybody should be doing, but very few people do. He talks to folks who don't have a lot of money, but very few people do. And he gives you advice, and he enjoys what he does. And I'm a huge fan of Dustin. He's a good guy. He's a good man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fan of Dustin 100%. But yeah, he likes active investing. I don't. I guess we could go into the octagon and fight it out. It would both come out less, but it's fine without question. I actually own an active investor in the Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund. So I got no problem with that at all. None. I just wouldn't pay some guy 1.25 for it. No way. Not kidding about beating. David says, I have beat the market since 2000 by about 12 percentage points. Anyone want to pay me to manage their money? Okay. Nancy. No, it wasn't Nancy Orman. It was Jane Bryant Quinn. That's what it was. Commission people aren't your friend. Fiduciary advisors are. Like, for the love of me, man. I just, I hate that stuff. That's what she said, Jane Bryant Quinn. And then she went over to creative planning to be on their board, along with Jonathan Clements, who wrote The Irony of All Ironies. Jonathan Clements, but I write about him in my book, You Can Retire on Social Security. So going back to my man who sent me an email saying, you're just trying to appeal to affluent people. I said, if I was trying to appeal to affluent people and forgot to do his name, why would I write this book? Well, he got really, his tighty whitey's got real tight on him. I felt bad for him. He's a minister too. I said, dude, you gotta learn some tact, brother. If you're, sharing the word of God and you don't have tact, you're going to drive a lot of people away. You can't be accusing people of stuff. You just can't. The whole really got under my skin. I'm not going to lie to you. I hate when people are just ignorant and they don't know that and they act like they know what to talk about. But anyway, so Jonathan Clements, so I talked about my book. He had written in the Wall Street Journal for many years talking about that he was, you shouldn't pay an advisor. And then he had written an article on his blog, I forgot what it was called, saying we need to end the 1% advisor fee. And lo and behold, a few short days after that, where does Jonathan Clements find himself? On the board of directors with the creative planning, who charges more than 1% fee. How ironic. Jonathan Clements says, oh my goodness, you should stop paying 1% fee to financial advisors. They're not worth it, which they aren't. But where does he end up? Furman charges what? Money, dude. I'll probably one of these days I'll go on a firm that charges 5%, and I'll still say you shouldn't pay anyone 1%. You should pay 5% a year. That's what I'll do, and I'll get paid big bucks. Bernie, is that you from jail? Bernie Madoff is in the house. He renamed his firm David Stewart. Oh, that is funny. I mean, come on, man. I don't know who David Stewart is. Like, he might be a good guy. I have no idea. But dude, I've heard it all before. I've heard it all before, brother. And I'm not laughing at you. I just, when people start saying they've done this over 20-year time frame, I highly suspect that's I just doubt it. Just don't know. Then when my man Tom says, Bernie, is that you from jail? That was pretty funny. Tina, never outside the USA. Right on, Tina. I'm glad you're here, Tina. I consider Tina my friend. We don't see eye to eye on everything, but Tina's she's good folk for sure. Even though she's from Philly, and my man Mark are Eagles fans. Seattle is I think Portland is the liberal capital of the world, my man. Yeah, 12B1 fees. Literally, they're charging investors for them to advertise for future investors. The biggest scam there is, man. They're charging you, the fund holder, literally, so they can advertise to other people. And the whole point of that, they're saying, well, once we hit this big enough asset under management base, we can reduce our expense ratio. That's the whole point of 12B1 fees, to get a big enough size of the portfolio to head an economies of scale so that we can reduce the fees to our current shareholders. You think that happens? It's nuts. Might want to mention the fact you only buy a SPIA if under, yeah, my man Harry found this. This is a good point. This was news to me, and I read it two places, and I had never heard this before, and I don't remember it from USA. So I'm still, what's the word? I'm still not 100% convinced, because I didn't do all the research on it, but I read it twice now. With an income annuity in IRA, if you're doing it for a period certain but not life, it will still be subject to the 10% premature distribution if you're under the age of 59 and a half. That was new to me. I did not know that. And look, Harry sent me the thing. I read it verbatim. It wasn't from the IRS. It's from a firm that does annuities. And I saw it in another place too. And I looked it up. I couldn't find anything else on that either way, which is annoying. I know a couple of people on LinkedIn who are annuity experts. One of these days I'll remember it. Maybe I'll do it tonight. Probably not. But to talk to them. I had never heard that before. But that was interesting to me. So if you're going to do a SPIA and you're under the age of 59 and a half, I'm just telling you right now, as we sit here today, I believe this to be true, that if you don't do it for life, you only do it for periods certain, like 10 years, but not for life, you could still be hit with a 10% penalty. That was news to me. And but as we say today, I think it's true. But again, I'm willing to be educated against that. But I mean, Harry showed me the thing. And then I looked it up a little bit more. I said, I think that might be true. Crazy. So I learn stuff all the time from you guys. That's for sure. During your peak earning year, would you go traditional or Roth? Yeah, if it's peak earnings year, Dan, I'd go traditional, especially if you expect to be in a lower tax bracket. That's the whole point. Is most people think they're going to be in a lower tax bracket. If you're married filing jointly, you're not, because one of you is going to die off most likely. But if you have a pretty good reason to think you're going to be in a lower tax bracket, yeah, absolutely bypass Roth and go into the traditional without question. Hey, Jerry, right on, man. Brett, we talked about that. Great video, October 17th, about keeping all right, right on, Al. Okay. My man Al says, great video on my Social Security taxation for single part 2. Yeah, we got it. Got a lot of single stuff to do. I got people have emailed me a lot on single stuff, and I know that's a big deal out there for sure. I saw my man Rob on here, or Bob on here before, who said, what are we supposed to do? And Bob, I'm just joking on you here, but he says, what are we supposed to do? Just go, forgot what it was. I am working on single people, Bob. Trust me, I got a couple videos out there. I know there are a lot of people wanting that. And I'm not overlooking single people. Trust me on that. It's important. I get it, man. I get it. But I just didn't want you thinking I'm just letting you, you said something like you're supposed to just go eat dog food or something like that. I said, no, dude, no, I'm going to do it. And I have other videos on that too. So anyway, it's coming. Tom says, I think being in 5 to 10 mutual funds is a better mix or proper diversification. I don't know what proper diversification is, but yeah, I mean, do what you got comfortable with, man. I got no problem with that. I mean, for me, I don't, but that's okay. I'm not right. It doesn't matter. Just do what you feel comfortable with. At the end of the day, it's your money, and no one cares about your money more than you. Just always remember that. Frank is fishing. Took some time off from catching some trout. What do I think of the BRRRR method? Buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat for real estate investing. Is it risky having multiple mortgages? I just don't like debt, man. So yeah, I'm not taking it. Debt ruins lives. It just does. There's just no other way around that. If you have no debt, you're in a good place. And I preach that. I'm like Dave Ramsey Jr. here. Have no debt. The debt is a stranglehold. It is. And people say, but I have a tenant who's covering the cost of my mortgage. Well, it's like saying I can afford this house because my income allows me to. Well, things change. Tenants leave, layoff comes, companies downsize, and yet you still have that debt over your head. So I don't think having debt, taking leverage to buy real estate is the way to go. How else do you do it? I don't know. Maybe fractional shares of real estate investment trusts, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, look, man, at the end of the day, I don't like it, but I'm not an expert on that. I wonder as I wander. Yeah, buy rentals with cash. I completely agree with that. Free speech is dead. Yeah, I agree, Mark. It really is. The idea that the Chinese are telling us how to crazy. I saw a meme the other day. It had what's that lady's name? Laura Ingraham or whatever her name is. Yeah, she had wrote some book about shut up and dribble, or I don't know what it's called. But anyway, and had it said shut up and dribble, and they had a picture of LeBron saying that's racist. Then they had the Chinese premier saying shut up and dribble, and they had a picture of LeBron James dribbling. I thought that was pretty funny actually. Those guys really screwed that up. Did you see in New Jersey the Brooklyn Nets, the Brooklyn Nets? So they kicked out like 4 or 5 guys with free Hong Kong. And now they had like 200 people show up the other day with free Hong Kong. So they had the free Hong Kong people on one side and all black. Is freaking awesome. And then you had some free Tibet people on the other side. Freaking dude, I could not be happier. That made my heart melt. To those people, more power to you. Screw those freaking Brooklyn Nets owner who's born in Taiwan, a resident of Hong Kong, and yet kisses the ring of the commie Chinese. born in Hong Kong, Taiwan, lives in Hong Kong, owns an NBA team in the US of A, and yet kisses the ring of the commies. You freaking piece of crap. You should be ashamed of yourself, man. These people are murderous, tyrannical, brutal dictators, and you're kissing their ring for the mighty dollar. You friggin' piece of crap. That ticks me off. And those people free Hong Kong going to the New Jersey Nets game after the 4 of those guys got kicked out. Friggin' you, my friends, are heroes. Oh, I could not be happier. Eagles up 2 touchdowns. Ooh, Dallas 14-0. We got St. Paul in the house. All right, it's probably getting snow up there. Aaron Boone, right, man? Grady Little, Vanguard Equity Income Fund is a great value fund. There you go. All right. How to borrow from retirement safely. Yeah, Kenneth, 72T now or wait on rule of age at 55. So remember, if you do the 72T now, you're going to have to do it until you're 59 and a half. I just wait till you got no debt, dude. Yeah, you got no debt. I'd wait till 55. Or just pay the tax. I mean, no, paying a 10% tax penalty is not the worst thing that ever happened. Yeah, I could see 72T because you got to wait 4 years before the age of 55. I could see that. I could see both. I've never liked the 72T that much, but in your case, it probably would be advisable. But you're going to have to do it for 9 years because you have to do it to your 59 and a half or 5 years, whichever is longer, right? Yeah, whichever is longer. How to borrow from retirement safely with lowest tax hit. I don't know how to borrow other than from your 401k, so I'm not sure about that, man. I went with Fidelity. I believe Josh likes Vanguard. I do, Tom. Tom and I had fisticuffs over this. They're all fine. Schwab, Fidelity, Vanguard. What's the other one? T. Rowe Price. I don't like T. Rowe Price as much. But they're fine at the end of the day. Yeah, that's all good. I got no qualm in any of them. Dead is the enemy says, yeah, my man Z-Man's on the house. All right. Hard to figure the wife is okay. That's a tough one. All right. If you have kids, you want to, okay. I guess that's it, man. We are, let's see, it's got 140 people on here. So much obliged. We're into 101 minutes. I might go check out a little bit of this game. I like the 7:30 one because I can get off a little bit in time. I'm watching this show from Stephen King on YouTube. It's called Castle Rock. I actually enjoy it. So what I do is I watch my show for about, I think it's 45-minute episodes. Now I'm reading a book, which I'll share with you here. Oh, man. Oh, I guess, here it is. What book is this? I am reading a book. It's called Winter World by A.G. Riddle. A.G. Riddle. I'm reading this book by him, which is pretty good. I did read this book called Gregory Benford Timescape. That was actually a real good book. I enjoyed that immensely. This guy, Blake Crouch, writes some good stuff. You see my new Popular Mechanics on there. Popular Mechanics has kind of jumped the shark. Let's see what else. Anyway, so I'm reading that, and then so what I do is I'll watch my show on YouTube for about 45 minutes. It goes to about 10, and because I usually go to bed about 9:15, and then I'll read my book for about 15, 20 minutes, fiction. Wake up in the morning. I'm reading my new book right now by James Grant, the Depression That Cured Itself. It's I love it, man. That's what I do to do my reading. And you all keep sending me articles. I'm telling you, my man Jimmy's on here. He sent me a bunch of articles lately, and I freaking, dude, I mean, I can't get them all right out of the gate, but I keep a list of them in my folder on Gmail for articles to frequent for sure. So I appreciate you all sending those out. Still working on my course. I keep saying I'm going to be done with it, but I want to make it right. And I'd actually be open to what you all think. Like, I've got almost 2,000 videos. I got 1,927 videos after this one. And I wanted to make my course. I've done probably 10 videos so far solely for the course, but I got, like, some of my videos I got are pretty good. And I figured, would I be would I be a sucker if I took some of those videos I've done, like on some of them for Social Security are just, they're good videos. I enjoy them. And I thought they got a lot of good feedback. If I threw them up on my course and there won't be just those videos, but would that make me a scumbag? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to charge my course. So I threw up a video that I've already got out there. But I put that as part of other videos of my course. Will that make me a scumbag? And I don't know. I'd love to, if you have thoughts on that. Because there's a couple of videos on Social Security that I kind of don't want to do again because they take a lot of research. They take a lot of time to do. And I already got them out there, but they're already free. So I'm just like, I don't know. If you all have thoughts on that, yeah, I don't know. Because I don't want to, look, man, I've made more money this year because of you all than I've ever made in my life. It's nuts. And I am incredibly grateful for that. And I want to give service to people. I need to get paid too. I still got this freaking house to pay for and 4 mouths to feed. Well, 6 mouths to feed. Never mind my wife and me. So I don't want to give away the store, but I want to, value for value. You know what I'm saying? That's my goal. If I charge a fair price, people will be willing to pay for it. And as long as they get a good value out of that. So I want to make sure that when people can send me money, they get a value out of what I'm offering. My question is, if I use some of the videos from videos I've done out there that are already available for free on there, and I put it into my course, I charge on top of videos I've added to the course that I will not put out there for public consumption, does that make me a scumbag? I don't know if that makes sense or not. And I 7 miles, right? Exactly. Yeah, Jerry. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's a good point. Jerry says, I can see how that might not be kosher. Yeah, right on. Social Security videos. Yeah, right on, Dave. I appreciate that. And so you guys are saying yeah, right on, Jimmy. Jimmy says the students may not be able to find them. Yeah. Yep. No, that's you guys are thinking along my says too. I think Mark Duper, Mark Clayton. That was it. Yep, you got it. I think you guys are thinking along my thing too, man. I think that's kind of my thoughts too. I appreciate that, gents, Jimmy and Jerry. That's kind of my thoughts, and that's exactly what I need to hear. Okay, cool. All right, we will see you guys next time. Don't forget, if you see articles and stuff you want me to review, anything come to mind, let me know. And we'll be here bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, 7:30 on Sunday. And 12 on Wednesday, 12 Eastern time on Wednesday. That's we're going to do this on the day and night too. So appreciate y'all being here. Thanks, guys.